absentmindedly munch away on food without a second thought to where that food came from. Nobody questions where the tomatoes in their sandwich were grown, or if the corn in the tortillas at Del Taco is organic or not. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are organisms that have been altered through the process of engineering to ensure a better, more flavorful outcome. Today, I will first explain why GMOs were created, secondly, how they're created, and lastly, the pros and the cons behind this controversy. To begin, let me share with you how GMOs were started. Genetically modified organisms were created to manipulate the DNA of plants in order to ensure that the plants would possess key traits that were ideal for farming on a large scale. For centuries, this has been done naturally through selective breeding processes, keeping or discarding the seeds each year that produce the best outcomes. As Carrie Hammerson states in her chapter of Genetic Engineering Opposing Views, plant biotechnology is an extension of traditional breeding with one key difference. Plant biotechnology ensures the transfer of genes in a precise and controlled manner every time. On a contrasting side, authors Martin Tetel and Kimberly Wilson in Genetic Engineering of Foods state that plant biotechnology is the most radical transformation of our diet since the invention of agriculture 10,000 years ago. As the website publicradio.org states, in 1982, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration field tested the first genetically modified tomato crop. And in 1986, the following year, the U.S. produced both genetically modified tomatoes and tobacco plants. Today, an estimated 70 to 75% of all processed foods found in local grocery stores are estimated to contain genetically modified ingredients. If we look here, we can see that right now the top 10 most genetically modified crops are corn, soy, potatoes, tomatoes, canola, cottonseed oil, papayas, radicchio, squash, and salmon. If you look over here, I know it's kind of hard to see on this chart, the dark green shows the countries that right now genetic engineering is highly prevalent. So it's increasing rapidly. By now you're probably wondering exactly how GMOs are made. Let's take a deeper look on this. According to Russ Hodge on Genetics and Evolution, the definition of a genetically modified organism is a cell, a plant, an animal, or a virus that has been changed through genetic engineering. Combining two different genes from unlike organisms is called recombinant DNA or splicing. Lisa Wiesel explains in her book, Food Fray, that in 1997, a company called Monsanto came out with the first Roundup-ready soybean. This soybean was unique because it contained a bacteria that neutralized the effects of the weed-killing pesticide Roundup. This technology was extremely influential because it allowed crop owners and farmers to spray their crops and get good results without killing them. This advancement, however, also posed a very serious question of health and safety in genetic modification. Now that you understand GMOs a little bit better, we can begin to compare the pros and the cons to this controversy. Genetic modification is viewed as a very highly debatable and widely controversial topic. The first view in genetic engineering is that it is immoral, unsafe, and created for one sole purpose, money. Genetically modified foods are seen as immoral because they are changing the way that traditional farming has been run for thousands of years. People fear that we are leaving behind our humanity and our most primal and ancient instincts of farming. Above all, they feel that we're losing the right to choose because currently there are no standards on labeling genetically modified foods and no way to tell exactly what's in our food that we're eating. Some places, however, are taking a stand on the global GMO debate. Trader Joe's corporate office released a statement to their customers saying, "Our customers can be assured that all products in Trader Joe's private label are sourced from non-genetically modified ingredients. We determined that given the choice, our customers would prefer to eat foods and beverages made without the use of genetically modified ingredients." Some people argue that genetically modified foods are unsafe. If engineers are able to take two unlike organisms and produce a crop that is resistant to insecticides, herbicides, and pesticides, then we in turn are eating these things also. Money is also a large motivator for a lot of the larger companies in genetic engineering. People fear that companies like Monsanto have no real effort in if genetic engineering is safe or not, so they are only motivated by money. A faster growing, weed and bug resistant crop ensures a quicker payoff for farmers and more supply and demand for companies like Monsanto. On the opposing view, people say that genetically modified foods are safe to consume, they're good for the environment, and they're a breakthrough in technology. As Carrie Hammerson states, the USDA makes sure the product is safe to grow, the FDA makes sure that it's safe to eat, and the EPA regulates crop protection characteristics. Hammerson goes on to say that the genetic engineering creates tons of jobs every year and helps California stay at the top as #1 leading agricultural producer in the country. As I wrap up my speech, let's review what I've shared with you. First, genetically modified organisms were created to manipulate the DNA of plants so that they would possess certain key traits for farming on a large scale. Secondly, the definition of genetic modified organisms are a plant, a cell, a virus, or an animal that has been changed through genetic engineering. Lastly, we weigh the pros and the cons to this controversy. In today's hectic lifestyle, it's hard to always understand what you're eating and the different factors that weigh into that decision. It is always good to be aware of both the pros and the cons to any situation and find what works best for you. I hope that today you will leave this classroom with more knowledge on genetic engineering and how that directly affects you with every bite that you take. Thank you.